Well, the Rays followed up the worst series in quite some time against the Chicago White Sox with an almost as bad series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They get one win out of the three games, but frankly didn't look good in any of them. Let's talk about it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rays Rewind with Bell, Bushman, and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arozarena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Hey guys, it's Drew here with you once again on the Rays Rewind podcast, part of the Sick Podcast Network, the sickest Rays podcast around. It is just me again today. Evan is still traveling with his family, so we are hoping that he's having a great time with them over in Europe. Certainly doing much better than a lot of Rays fans, including myself, after not having to watch the last road trip, especially the last few days. So let's get right into it. The Rays, frankly, weren't any better. We were hoping, coming off an embarrassing road series against the White Sox, who were 3-22, coming into that series, the worst team in the majors by a wide margin. And getting swept by them, hoping that that would be some sort of wake-up call. It just felt like every game in that series was the new low point of the 2024 season. So hoping that going into Milwaukee was a bit of a wake-up call for the team and for the players. And frankly, the results at the end of the day were a little better. They were able to get a win on Monday, but really, you don't come out of this series feeling any better about the team. And in fact, despite getting a win against a good Milwaukee Brewers team on the road, you really actually probably feel worse about the team at the end of it. Uh, you know, going through the first game, 1-0. The Rays were fortunate to win that game. Obviously on the back of Ryan Pepio, great 6 innings, just really dominant stuff. I mean, he's come in. I know he's had a slow, a tough game or two here and there so far this year. Been a little more prone to the long ball against, the Rangers and also against the Giants, but really has looked strong over the last few starts. Just some really nasty strikeout stuff, and really overpowered the Brewers lineup all day. And then the high leverage arms in the bullpen coming in and shutting the door. Really, Sean Armstrong, Kevin Kelly, Jason Adam. One hit over the course of the 3 innings they covered. 5 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Jason getting in a little bit of a pickle at the end there, making things interesting with bases loaded, 2 outs, and getting some beneficial calls from the umpires on the backswing that hits Rene Pinto that takes away the drop third strike, all that mess. So it was great to get the win. But again, even in the win, it was still a lot of the same issues that we've seen recently with the Rays, which is a lack of offense. They get the bases loaded in the first inning, first 3 batters, thanks to a couple walks and a hit by pitch, and you kind of feel like, all right, Esau's up. This is going to be the Rays' opportunity to finally, turn over a new leaf after the White Sox series. They have their team's home run and RBI leader at the plate, and he grounds into a double play, and the run scores, but they kind of just killed the rally right there. And then from that point on, to be frank, there really wasn't much else that happened in that game offensively. Really, no other scoring opportunity, and it's a lot of the same stuff. Just a lot of weak contact, a lot of if they're getting any hits, it's singles. In fact, in that game, 6 hits, all were singles, and that's going to be something that we talk about here in a little bit. Um, I I think with the Rays, I think that's certainly something that we're seeing is kind of a theme. Every every game. It's the lack of power, and we saw it again on Monday night with 6 hits, and all were singles. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Just nothing really to write home about the offense. And then you go into the second and third games, and it's really a lot of the same. I mean, the starters, when the starters are not sharp, and not as dominant as Ryan Pepio right now, which is basically shutout baseball. Anything less than that feels almost insurmountable for this offense. Today and yesterday, they scratched 3 total runs over the course of the last 2 games. Really, they scored 4 runs this entire series, so that's all you really need to know. But Tuesday and Wednesday, Tyler Alexander was grinding in Tuesday's game, 85 pitches through 4 innings. Really, actually did a good job of limiting the damage. It could have been a lot worse. And so for him to get out of that with only 3 runs, and then you add in Jose Siri's home run that went a country mile, I think 451 feet. It felt like the Rays should have been. It felt like the deficit was a lot larger, but it felt like but the Rays were actually still in that game. And so I really give a lot of credit to Tyler Alexander for the way he hung in there, but it just really put a lot of strain on the bullpen. Where the Rays having to throw out some of their younger guys, their rookies that they've called up, Jacob Lopez and Rodriguez there, and Jacob really just kind of Jacob Lopez kind of really got off to a tough few innings at the beginning there, giving up 5 runs. Willie Adames hitting the 3-run homer to kind of blow the game open. And, again, and then today, more of the same. Zach Eflin just really not. I mean, he wasn't bad. It's 5 2/3, 3 runs, 6 Ks. But again, it's just a matter of when the opposing team is putting up even as little as 2 or 3 runs right now, it just feels like that is going to be impossible for the Rays to come back from. Anything more than a run, it just seems like it's going to be, Rays are headed for another loss. Like there's just no way that the offense is going to piece together enough hits because, they're striking out at an incredible rate. It feels like, your top hitters, Yandy and Randy, whether you like it or not, Yandy was supposedly getting out of a slump. That's what we were hearing, and he was putting together some better at bats and, hitting the ball a little harder, opposite field, all the things that he succeeds in and excels at. But in this series, he went 0 for, let's see, he went 0 for 11 in the series. His only contribution offensively was the hit by pitch, and was the hit by pitch in the first game on the first at bat and the run he scored there. And he also had another walk in that game. But other than that, he didn't do anything. Randy Arozarena, same thing. I mean, just another awful stretch for him. I mean, he's shown 0 signs of any life, of any signs of coming out of this slump. And so again, 0 for 8 today with runners in scoring position on Wednesday's game. And it just more of the same. Anemic offense and lack of power. The Rays right now in the majors have the second lowest barrel rate of any team. So it's 5.9% of their hits are considered barrels. So hard hit balls. The only team that's lower than them at 5.8 is the Chicago White Sox, who swept the Rays not too long ago, if everybody can remember that. And the so they're not hitting for any power. And to this series, they had 16 hits over the course of the 3 games. 15 of those hits were singles. So the only extra base hit was Jose Siri's home run in game 2, and everything else were singles. And so what that's doing is it's just forcing the team, and they're not stealing bases. I mean, William Contreras is a great catcher. I think he's on his way to becoming the premier catcher in baseball. And he just really controlled the running game very well all series. So, not really being able to be aggressive on the base paths like they like, and every hit being a single essentially, it's putting a lot of pressure on the Rays to having to get 3-4 hits an inning just to get a run across. Whereas, team like the Brewers, they're, 3-run homer here, 2-run homer here. They're getting, doubles down the line, doubles in the gap. it's just so much easier when you have some guys in the lineup that can consistently give you an extra base threat, a power threat. And so, the Rays were already near the tops in Major League Baseball with, I believe it was in the around 75% of their hits were singles for the season. And so this series was more of the same, if not worse, 15 out of the 16 hits being singles. Um, what do you do to fix the offense? I think you got to make some changes. We've talked about that here on this podcast a number of times. I think the injuries, obviously have played a factor. You got a number of guys rehabbing in Durham that are going to be coming back over the next week or so. Hopefully by this weekend, Josh Lowe can maybe make a return. And so you have Josh Lowe, you have Johnny DeLuca in the outfield, you have Jonathan Aranda as well. So I think you're going to see sooner than later some of the cavalry arriving. I again want to caution people. This is not necessarily. It will be a better lineup. Don't get me wrong, but there there's nothing to suggest that Jonathan Aranda is going to move the needle for this team. He hasn't proven it at the major league level. Johnny DeLuca, I'm really excited to watch him. He's, I think, going to be a great option in the outfield and hopefully can be a more consistent hitter at the plate. And he can become our starting center fielder. And, something that, uh, we can kind of get Siri out of the lineup. But there's no guarantee that these guys are going to come back and hit the ground running. Josh Lowe, I think he's going to have a great season once he gets up here and gets healthy. But again, coming back from injuries, it could be an acclimation period, ramping up. Who knows what's going to happen with him when he comes back. But just getting those guys back, I think, is going to give this offense a little bit of energy. And then I think you got to bring up Junior Caminero. He has, out of going into today, out of his last 26 batted balls, 15 of them were hard hit, so over 95 miles an hour or greater. And you talk about a team with a low barrel rate that's not hitting the ball hard, and Junior Caminero pretty much hits everything hard, and he hits it to all fields with power, with speed, and he had a 2-homer game on, I believe, on Sunday in Taj Bradley's rehab start, 4 for 5, a double, 2 homers. And then today in Gwinnett, in the doubleheader that Durham's playing, he had a double to start the first game. That was his hardest hit ball of the year, around 115 miles an hour, right? Which would be like some of the highest marks in the majors right now, the major leagues. And then he follows that up in the second game with 2 home runs. So he has another 2 home run game to opposite field. So his first home run was he pulled it left field with power. It was gone. Right field, second home run was an opposite field shot to right field, and it was a no doubter. So you're looking at a guy who's got power to both sides of the all fields. That is probably your best power hitter in the organization, and he is would be, if he's on the team right now, one of your top hitters, and certainly your best power threat. And he's just sitting in AAA, probably for service time reasons. The Rays ownership group, the Rays front office, is doing a disservice to the major league team by keeping Junior Caminero down. I get that Isak's playing well. Obviously, you got to keep Isak in the lineup, and him and Junior play the same positions. There are plenty of other guys in this roster right now that do not belong here, or have not hit well enough to be a roadblock to a player like Junior Caminero. Curtis Mead looks lost. He's not great in the field. He looks lost at the plate. Harold Ramirez, quite frankly, very low impact this year. I really like Harold a lot. He's not moving the needle at all. He's not hitting for any power. He's getting infield hits. That's basically it. He's been looking, the last couple of weeks have been pretty down for him, it seems like. And I think that, that's somebody that could be on the chopping block to get Junior up here. There's a lot of ways you can move Isak around. He's played second. He's played some short. He's played first. So there's no shortage of ways to get those guys get Junior in the lineup without, having to, so what if you have to move Harold around or Curtis Mead around, like out of the lineup? That's what you got to do in order to make this team better. Then so be it. You got to give this team a jolt somehow, an energy boost. And it's not going to come with the current group of guys right now. It's just not happening. They look lost. There's no energy. It's got to come from the outside, and that's going to come through the injured guys returning, and then Junior Caminero getting called up. So I'm hoping that the Rays take this off day tomorrow and bring him up for the weekend series for the City Connect jerseys and for this big homestand at the Trop. And I think that alone would be a much needed jolt. One other thing that I think would be a really neat thing, and something that I think could bring a lot of energy to the team and I think to the fans as well. I think Randy is somebody that is, and I've talked to a few people back in the Tampa Bay area on the radio about this, and Randy is the epitome of the slump right now of the Rays' offensive woes. He is quite literally either the worst or second to worst qualified major league hitter so far this season, and he is easily within in the worst slump of his career and just has no signs of coming out of it. Randy is a player that exudes energy. Most, if not all the time, he is a player that is the energy boost for the Rays. And just not seeing it right now. He's obviously in his head. He's slumping hard. He's just looks miserable, to be honest with you. He looks miserable. And it's really sad to see. He's the guy that Rays fans all love. He's given Rays fans so many great moments over the last few years. And I mean, he's got a section named after him. He's so great with the fans. Everyone loves talking with him, and he is the fan favorite without a doubt. And to see him slumping this way is really tough because, frankly, the Rays are not going to go anywhere without Randy Arozarena getting better. If he continues to slump this bad, I mean, it's curtains on the season, I think. And so getting him going is paramount to the Rays getting back on track and getting back in playoff contention for this season. So what I would love and what I want to charge Rays fans to do, we have, obviously tomorrow's the off day, and then the City Connect series this weekend, big Friday night game against the New York Mets. I'm sure a lot of Mets fans will be in the building, but generally speaking, with the City Connect jerseys, Randy Land going on, I think you're going to see a big crowd at the Trop, and I think there's going to be a really good energy there. And I think something that could be really cool and really, I think, provide what I think would be an emotional and a mental boost to Randy right now is I always want to encourage and charge Rays fans his first at bat. I think it'd be awesome if we could get everybody just to stand up and just standing ovation, just screaming and yelling for Randy, just showing him that we're supporting him, that we see him even in the midst of his struggles, but that we still support him and, you know, love him to a certain extent, right? We back him. We want to see him succeed, and that we still believe that he's the guy, that he's the man. And I just think that would be such a cool moment for Randy. I think that would be a great moment for Rays fans to really support and to come alongside one of the most beloved players in the organization, if not the most beloved. And so I just want to encourage Rays fans. I think Friday night's a great opportunity to do that. Especially Randy Land and the City Connect jerseys. I think people are going to be fired up already. And so just using that as an opportunity to show Randy that we're behind him 100%, even in the midst of this terrible slump he's in. And we know that, he's going to get out of it, but that we're here to support him along the way. It's very similar. The suggestion really comes from, what Phillies fans did last year for Trey Turner back in August, who he had signed this big deal and he was just not performing at all to his career averages, and really kind of a dead weight for the Phillies at that time. And the Phillies fans all stood up and applauded Trey Turner before his first at bat in a game in early August, and it turned his season around. He, I think, batted 343 over in the last month of the season, and close to 300 in August when he was batting in like the 240s, 230s earlier in the season. And so something like that, like just something unexpected like that, I think that, instead of, it's really easy to boo and to get frustrated when these players are not performing well, but they're human obviously, and they're struggling, and it's weighing on Randy, and he's a guy that's always working and wants to get better and wants to work and come through for the team. And so I think for us as Rays fans, I think it'd just be a great opportunity for us to show support for him. So I just encourage everybody to do that and to go out and, if you're at the game on Friday, stand up, yell for Randy, show him your love, show him your support. And hopefully we can, as fans make a little bit of a difference for him. Whether or not it turns him around immediately, I think just the reassurance that we're behind him would be a big boost for him and hopefully for the team as well, just to show that we still believe in him. Last thing I wanted to say before we wrap up here, the Jose Siri incident on Tuesday night. Frankly, I think uh, I'm not. I think it was an interesting time for Jose to get caught up in a fight like that. I think, given his lack of hustle on Saturday against the White Sox, the fact that he was benched mid game, and then for him to turn around, um, Sunday and then and Monday, he was hustling. He's been looking good in the field. He's been giving a lot more of an effort. I think that was noticeable. Monday, his at bats were really strong. He didn't get any results for it, but he was, I thought he has had some of his best at bats all season. And then, he has the home run in his first at bat on Tuesday, and he just crushes it. And and like Kevin Cash said, that's part of the game. Kind of showboating or showing up the pitch or whatever, pimping the home run. We know Jose Siri likes to do that, especially when he hits the ball very far. And I thought for the home run celebration that he did, the pimping of the home run that he did by Jose Siri standards was very timid, very calm. So it really didn't feel like that egregious to me. But you see Freddie Peralta stare him down, and obviously he doesn't like it, whatever. And then you have Freddie Peralta 3-0 count. The game had just been kind of blown open with Willie Adames' 3-run homer. They're up 6-1, comfortable lead. He doesn't really get an early strike on Jose, so instead of walking him 3-0, he hits him with a fastball in the mid, in his thigh at 97 miles an hour. I don't care what anyone says on the Brewer side. It, no, doesn't. It wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to hit him. Why would he do that up 6-1? And no, it absolutely was intentional. I'm just shocked the umpires were confident enough to call him out and about it and eject him. Usually you see warnings given in that situation. So I kind of applaud the umpires for having the fortitude, the testicular fortitude to make that decision like that. I, you know, it's very obvious. I think, if you watch enough baseball, when a pitcher's throwing at a guy like that. And given the situation, it just seemed very obvious that, for a guy that had such great control all game, has really had great control all season, very convenient that he planted a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right in the mid, thigh, upper leg area of Jose Siri, which is one of the areas that when you're throwing at somebody, it's the back or the legs like that. So, whatever they want to say about it wasn't intentional, the Brewers side, it was intentional. He's just got to do a better job of hiding it. If being honest, I don't know why you wouldn't just, if you miss him the first pitch, don't worry about it doing it again. So I mean, he got called out on it, and good for the umpires, and rightly so. I mean, it was definitely intentional, no doubt about it. Um, the then the umpire or the situation in the eighth with the fight. Obviously, Abner Uribe, Jose Siri not really looking to do anything there. He's just trotting down the first baseline, and Uribe kind of gives him a little bit of a bump with the shoulder, and Siri asks what that was about, and they start drawing back and forth, and Uribe takes a swing. Obviously, had it out for Siri. That was obvious. He could have easily gone back to the pitcher's mound. Instead, he decides to, walk close to Siri, bump him, start jawing, throws the first punch. Siri obviously comes back with some punching. I don't love to see that. I get that he's in self-defense or whatever, and he wasn't the one that threw the first punch, but it's all fun and games, I guess. But seeing your team get into a fight like that sometimes is, it sounds better than it actually is. I didn't really love seeing my team, get into a fight like that. But clearly, Uribe had it out, and frankly, it was just so uncalled for. I mean, it was over after the plunking to Siri in the earlier in the game, and just to go out there and instigate and escalate the situation like that intentionally is just so careless. And rightly so. He got suspended 6 games. I know he's appealing, but he obviously was the main instigator in that situation. Major League Baseball saw the same. Um, Frankly, the last thing I'll say about it is I think it speaks pretty poorly on the Brewers organization. I honestly walked away feeling like they're one of the softest teams. To have that Jose Siri home run get under the skin of Freddie Peralta, your ace, that badly when there's no history there. There's no like rivalry with the Rays and Brewers, and they were up the whole game. They were up 3-0 before the home run, and then 6-1 when he hits them. Like, just to go out of your way to seek justice on Jose Siri for a home run pimp job that really wasn't even that bad. I mean, you look at for Jose Siri, it was timid, and then on top of that, that same night in Major League Baseball, Juan Soto has a pimp job that's way worse than what Jose Siri did. He hits a home run, stares at the pitcher, and throws his bat as he's staring at the pitcher. Like, that's way worse than what Jose Siri did. All he did was looked at it, made an expression, and then started trotting around the bases. It's not, by today's standards, that was hardly a pimp job. So for the Brewers to get so offended by that, and then to hitting him, and then for Uribe to do what he did, it was just honestly kind of shocking to see that one play got under the Brewers' skin so much. So honestly, I was pretty disappointed. I mean, it's great to see Willie playing peacekeeper and arm around Randy Arozarena, and obviously still, he's such a great teammate. Obviously, still looking out for the guys on both sides. But just was really disappointed by the Brewers there. It felt like I've seen a lot worse in baseball that hasn't ever had a retaliation like that, and so for them to take it to that level, when the guy that hit the home run's hitting like a $182, it's pretty weak and pretty soft. So hopefully, I guess we'll see next year when we see the Brewers again at the Trop, but I doubt it'll carry over. But we'll see what happens next time the two teams get onto the field. But anyway, we are looking ahead to this weekend with the Mets. City Connect jerseys. It's going to be a great weekend. I know there's been a lot of negativity about the team this week, and rightly so. They deserve it. They've looked terrible, but it is an exciting time. Exciting series coming up with the Mets, with the new jerseys, and it is still May 1st. So the Rays have not dug themselves out of a hole that they can't get out of. I hope that they turn it around this weekend, that the new jerseys and hopefully the support of Randy and all those things can help give this team a boost. Hopefully, like I said, people coming up from Durham, the injured guys rehabbing, making their way back to the major league team, Junior Caminero hopefully coming up. I hope that we see a lot more energy from the team at home over this next homestand, and that by the end of the homestand next weekend, we're looking at a different record, hopefully around 500 or better, and a team that's ascending as opposed to descending and looking as poor as they have over the last 6 games. So that'll do it for me on this Rays Rewind episode. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate everybody who listens and watches. We will be back. I believe Evan and I will both be back next week. He'll be back in town, so we'll be back to talk Rays baseball next week again. Until then, I hope you guys stay safe. Have a great rest of your week, and go Rays.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with El Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.